Hello. Um, you can't see me well. Maybe you can a bit with this setup. Um, how are you? How are you doing? People that are here. What's going on in your life? Tell me. Tell me. I will. I am actually curious. It always like helped me as well in my journey when I knew that what I am picking up it's actually reflected in other people's lives or community or collective. I mean, and I have this something that wants to come through ancestors. Not only something that wants to come through ancestors, but a story that I was reminded that is connected to ancestors and the body. So yeah, listen up. Uh, I need to settle a little bit. I'm still a bit like giddy. I just got an information and I was like, oh my god, things are starting to open up. Oh my god. Yeah, it has been interesting year, isn't it? Interesting year. Oh, okay. I'm happy that I can just play record and just have some laughs. Anyway, the story. The story. Um, yeah, the story. So last year when I lived in Tenerife, and I'm gonna get back there. Um, I had this work. I was working with my intestine. There's like a somatic problem there for many, many, many years. And it's not the first time I've been diving there from different methodologies, etc. I don't want to go into that because it's not my, specialty. But I can share my journey, my story, and mostly I can share my connection and energy work, or downloads and information, and reading from what's happening and transmuting it as well, and connecting with the soul on the higher soul consciousness level, soul level. But for those parts, for the body parts, I can definitely tell you what it was for me, and how is that journey of self embodiment and recovery, and what is the connection between the body and the ancestors. So I had the topic with the intestine and the belly, and the part of it was that I was working with the sexual energy, and the sacral chakra for this year as creating from this divine feminine, and the same time moving that area and healing the intestine. So I joined this platform to be more focusing on that part, and I was diving basically in connection with them, but I was actually diving in my own process. And there was one day where I got into it, and I already felt like there is something coming up. It kind of feels like, well, if I think about it, it kind of feels like birthing in a sense, because you are like walking around and you're like, nothing is like really like, you're not feeling, you're feeling emotional bubble, but you don't know. I sometimes express it like that, but you don't know exactly what it is, and you don't have the access to it. So oftentimes when you also resist a lot something, or finally tapping into it, into what you feel, oftentimes it turns out that it's big, and not big to be afraid of, just important. And that was also the case. So I finally like lay down and I went into my own process, and I connected with my belly, and I dove into this lineage and their story, and I knew that it's like encoded in intestine. And what happened, I'm just thinking if I have the recording from then somewhere, but I'm not sure if I'm able to really find it right now, because I was trying to capture it and I recorded it to a friend of mine when there was like that still like information coming through. Because basically what happened was that I knew that this belly is so much connected with my feminine lineage, like the female female lineage in my family. And I dove into this intestine, and I had this connection with my great grandma. I already was tapping into a bit of like what stories happened to her and why it have certain patterns and mechanisms and distortion happened. But that was very interesting that tapping into this intestine, there was still like a message there. So these intestines were holding message and holding the pain and holding the energy because it wanted to be seen and tap into and receive. And basically, I just felt this working on a deeper level with being able to read energy in different ways, pick up the information. I literally had the energy of my great grandma, and I had this information coming to me through like knowing or words or images, and I had it has been shown. Ooh, I feel the wave, and it's important to speak about. I'm tuning now a bit into it deeper, so it's important to speak about it. Um, because there's so many of us that hold these stories, and that they want to be seen because they want to be actually released, acknowledged, and but acknowledged and released. And I see this theme of why I'm also tapping, like talking and tapping into it today, because it's been a couple of months ago, half year ago or more, because I've seen these programs about the ancestors as well, which are like famous people are discovering their lineage, their tree, and they are learning like literally facts, like historical facts and all this. And I would see how the stories of themes, there's like impossible to miss the connection because it's so unbelievable. Like a druid, somebody playing druid in this life, and his ancestor drawing druids and like the stones in somewhere of north, and that there were meetings of druids. Like this was so impossible that your great 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 was drawing this, and now in this life you're playing that, as an actor. And I was again reminded of how much we are somehow these energies of those lives and stories, they are manifesting through our lives. And it's not only through the physical body, but also with stories that we are not able to let go because we didn't acknowledge the lives. And then when you watch this life and you have the particular name and a story of somebody, and you find like you see it, and yeah, I don't know that either because I never done that proper, family tree investigation thing. But when I saw that, not about my story, but about their family lineage, I was like, oh my God, these people had hardcore lives. This was hardcore planet, even more than it is right now in many ways, in heaviness of the energy of unconsciousness as well. And it opened up again like ancestral connection, and that allowing myself not to not to be living some stories that are some kind of echo from the past, but completely be able to let them go through seeing them, acknowledging them. So coming back to, I'm I'm a bit like I'm a bit afraid that I'm a bit scattered again, like I'm scattered in this video, but I'm hoping that you are catching up and following. Um, so coming back to that connection with my great grandma and the belly and intestines, I literally saw the informations like this, that she didn't want this to happen to her daughters of the daughters and children, and that this like circle of things will be the result of what happened there or her own coping. That she wanted forgiveness for this, that her life was like hardcore. I literally, like, I was deep into it and I could see it. I can't even express it right now because when you are so deep into it, you are in that bubble, you are in these emotions, you feel your belly, and you have this like presence, and you have this information coming through, and images and stuff. It's just whew, again, I feel it. It's just so difficult to then sit here later and then verbalize it, because it's just so it's like so strong and so subtle at the same time, that when you verbalize it, it kind of loses the. It's like talking about dreams a bit, or it's talking about your emotion, like sensations in your body. It's hard to express it sometimes when somebody didn't feel it. But ultimately, it was like this. That her life was for, her life was for, and it can be also a message from your ancestors, that you don't have to get stuck on certain things in your life or repeat certain things anymore. You are free to do your own life and your own soul's potential, because like my great grandma, the information was that her hardcore tough life was, she came as a soul to live it. Shivers again, like I can feel this energy strongly. And it was for her to live that life, and it's not for anyone later, like trying to subconsciously, unconsciously handle and carry that energy anymore. It doesn't need to be repeated, because that story was already lived. So it's like a kind of waste of her, in sense of her difficult journey that she endured, and then she decided to endure on a soul level. It doesn't need to be, repeated anymore. It doesn't need to be carried anymore. It doesn't need to be saved in some sense, or closed in a way by trying to, unconsciously reliving some things, or being stuck at some things. Um, and that she wanted, that energy in the belly was still there, because she wanted this to be seen, like to be realized by me, by my lineage, by her children, children of children. And and that forgiveness, and that her life was so tough, and I felt so like gratitude for her life and respect for her life, what she went through, and on in some level understanding that it went so kind of sideways, in the sense of how this pattern developed into be um, some kind of distortion, and understanding that I am free to go and live my life, and I'm free to express my potential without carrying those stories. and and then finally seeing it from this level and this eyes, it was this like from a deep from the really deep feeling and depth, like forgiveness to what happened, whatever that consequences were I was enduring later on as a great grandchild. And understanding how hard it was for the women in my lineage and what they went through, and with total respect to them. Ooh, I get emotional. My body is picking up a lot of as well, um, like strongly, so it's reacting accordingly to what uh, emotions I pick up also when I connect with other people. Um, and I think this part of like some kind of karmic cycles, we also are closing off. We're also closing off, and now when I say it, I just feel I'm more at peace. And sometimes it's also funny when there are certain emotions or scatteredness coming, or whatever is happening in our lives, that is so much related to something that wants to come to the surface. And even that body pains, problems of intestine, or whatever that is in your body that can carry for you the information that wants to be seen. And it can be from different parts, from from different informations, but partially it can be from, and there is a dragonfly, awesome, symbol of transformation, and which was also accompanying me this last 7 years, actually, or even 8 years, um, especially in the beginning. Yeah. And then sometimes this information just is knocking so strongly, and it's showing up through life experiences, body pains, body symptoms, diseases, relationship situations that go shit ways, shit face, shit waste. All of this sometimes it's knocking for getting out, for being seen, for just being acknowledged, for being received, like information that wants to be received. And I don't know, I think it's a great time to connect with that on the level, because for myself also, on the mind level, I could say like, yeah, I'm grateful for my ancestors, but I couldn't feel it so deeply. And only when I started to connect it through myself, um that I was able to tap into this such a level and to feel it emotionally, what their lives really meant, or even being reminded, like I said, through this channel that I watched, and seeing those stories and having this understand deeper, even understanding of how this matrix of energy that is living through, or souls that is living through different lives, are intertwined and connected. Um, and yeah, and yesterday even I felt, after like feeling like there was something that comes through ancestors, and then I was reminded, oh, there was this story of how the belly and body and eggs that comes through my female line, it's manifested through information from my great grandma, and her wanting to see the stories, to deeply being able to let go certain patterning, certain dynamics with men and women, men, certain physical symptoms and all this, that it can be let go, because it just needs to be seen and acknowledged and forgiven. And um and yeah, and that was, I felt also like that was a reminder yesterday, and I wanted to record something, and then I was reminded about this story that I definitely need to share it, and that I felt like I wanted to buy flowers and even make this for the first time from like this deeper notion, not like from my mind, like we sometimes do some rituals for ancestors, but from this deeper notion of me going through these processes alongside throughout the years, or months or years, to really bring this like appreciation, really, on a deep level of like, wow, you had crazy lives, what the heck. And I don't know how you made through it, and I understand that things could turn out later like that. And wow, thank you for those souls that were dared to came and went through it. And it's not something we have to tag along anymore. Like, energy is shifting, consciousness is shifting, we're able to really tap deeper to more of a aware vantage point or perspective view on things. So thank you. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you for your ancestors to walk this earth and to go through what they went, so that you can have this life, however cheeky, twisted, crazy, painful, amazing, beautiful, joyful it is. And whatever emanation or expression of love you experience, thanks to them, you can live through this physical life in this physical form. Thank you. If you have something to share from your own story or any comments or questions and likes, thank you so much. Thanks.